The Acrobat PDF file format is without a doubt the most important core technology in the professional creative space today. If you want to send a proof to a client, you'll likely send them a PDF. If you want to send a finished document to a printer, you should probably send them a PDF. If you're trying to put documents on the web that can be viewed as well as printed, you're going to use PDF. So it's crucially important that as an InDesign user, you be able to create robust PDF documents. Now, there's two ways to make a PDF file from InDesign. First, you could print PostScript to disk from the Print dialog box and then use Acrobat Distiller to turn it into a PDF file. That's what I call the ridiculously archaic method that we used back in the 20th century. Instead, I'm going to focus on the 21st century method, and that is to go to the File menu and choose Export. InDesign lets you export PDFs directly out of the program. You don't have to use any other software. And the PDFs that you get are much higher quality than the ones you used to get anyway. When you have the Export PDF dialog box open, you can name your file and choose where you want to save the PDF. Then, you have to choose from two different PDF formats. Down here in the Format pop-up menu, you'll see PDF Interactive or PDF Print. As I mentioned in an earlier chapter, the interactive option should only be used if your document has movies, buttons, page transitions, those sorts of interactivity. You're going to use the Adobe PDF Print option for pretty much everything else. Even documents that are primarily designed to be viewed on screen but only have a little bit of interactivity, like hyperlinks and bookmarks, you want to use Adobe PDF Print. It just gives you more options when you export. Now, when I click Save, up comes the Export Adobe PDF dialog box. Now, there are a lot of options in here, but I recommend that everybody start by choosing one of the Adobe PDF presets. Everything you choose in this dialog box is going to be based on where this PDF is going to, who's going to be viewing it, and what they're going to be doing with it. For example, if you're sending this PDF to a commercial printing press, you're probably going to want to use either PDF X1A or PDF X3. X1A is typically used in North America, X3 is used more in Europe. But this is a decision that you need to make with your printer. Ask them, do they want PDF X1A or X3? The main difference has to do with what colors are allowed in the PDF file. Now, if you're lucky, your printer will come back and say, give us PDF X4. X4 is a much better quality, more robust PDF. It allows them to print all kinds of things, like transparency, without any problems. On the other hand, if you're making a PDF that's not going to a commercial press, but you're simply going to be sending it for a proof, or maybe you're sending it to someone to view on screen, and then maybe they're going to print it out on their desktop printer, then I recommend that you choose high-quality print. You might be tempted to use the smallest file size down here, but I don't recommend that. I don't like that preset. It tends to dumb down your PDF too much, and sometimes it'll change your colors and images in unexpected and unpleasant ways. Again, I choose high-quality print. At least that's where I start. Then I start making changes to customize it to the output that I want. For example, I almost always change the compatibility pop-up menu to Acrobat 6. Or later. Next, choose your page range. Do you want all your pages, or just a couple of them? For example, I'll print just pages 21 to 22. One of the things you get when you change the compatibility to Acrobat 6 is the ability to do things like tag PDF. I highly recommend that you turn on Create Tagged PDF because it allows much better web SEO if you're putting this PDF on a website. It also allows people with visual disabilities to use this PDF with screen reader software. It's not perfect, but it does give more flexibility, so I like turning that on. Also, if you've used a table of contents or made any hyperlinks or bookmarks, you want to turn on the bookmarks and hyperlinks checkboxes. Note that those are the only interactive features that are saved out in a print PDF. Now I'm going to jump over to the compression pane. I'm going to make a few changes here. Because this is a PDF that I'm going to be putting on a website, and I'm expecting most people to see it on screen, maybe some of them will print it, I'm almost certainly going to lower the resolution here. 300 might be fine for a commercial printing job, but I'm going to change this to something smaller, maybe 150. I'll do it to my grayscale images too. The other thing I'm going to do is change the image quality to medium. That's going to make the PDF much smaller when I export it. Again, a commercial job, I'd want to leave it set to maximum, but for a web PDF, I leave it set to medium. Over here in the Marks and Bleed pane, I can choose whether to turn the marks on or off. You typically would not have these turned on for a PDF that was for web viewing, of course. But if we're sending this to a commercial printing press, I'd want to ask them, do you want crop marks? Do you want registration marks? And so on. Most printers who are receiving PDFs don't want those things, but definitely check with them. Now, certainly, if you're printing a document that has bleed, like this document does, then you want to turn on the Use Document Bleed settings. Again, that's if you're going to a commercial printing press. If you're just putting this on screen, then you definitely don't want to have that checkbox on. You want it to be cropped off right at the edge of the page. I'm going to leave this turned off right here. Next, I'm going to visit the Output pane. This pane is all about what's going to happen to the color in your documents. Now, if you're making a PDF that's primarily for on-screen viewing and maybe printing on a desktop printer, then you want to use this setting. No color conversion, but include your tagged source profiles. It means your RGB files will be included, your CMYK files will be included. Everything should print out as nicely as possible. It's going to be safe. If you're going to be printing to a commercial printing press, then you might want to change this. For example, I often use RGB images, color images from Photoshop in my files, but I almost never send those to a printer. Instead, I change my color conversion setting to Convert to Destination, Preserve Numbers. And then I choose my CMYK destination from the Destination pop-up menu. By default, I get this US web-coded swap, but I tend to get better results when I'm printing on coated paper by using coated Grackle. Let's scroll up here and choose that. Or if I'm printing on uncoated stock, I'd rather use something like this uncoated Fogra. Now in this case, you definitely want to leave the profile inclusion policy to include destination profile. So again, this is good for sending final output to a printing press. But in the instance where we're just putting something on the web or just sending a proof, I don't use that. I just come back up here and say no color conversion, and I do want to include all tagged source profiles. Now, there is actually one more option that you might want to choose here. If you're trying to get a grayscale PDF, where you only have black, white, and shades of gray in the PDF, then you'd choose something different. In that one instance, you'd change this to Convert to Destination. Not Preserve Numbers, just Convert to Destination. This is really the one instance where you don't want to use that Preserve Numbers option. Then, from the Destination pop-up menu, you'd scroll all the way to the bottom and choose one of these grayscale profiles. They're down here, like this dot gain 20%, dot gain 25%. Those are all the grayscale options. If I chose this, then my PDF would be entirely in grayscale, no color. But once again, for this PDF, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say no color conversion and include all tagged source profiles. Okay. Now, there are a bunch of other features that we can choose in here. For example, in the security pane, we could require a password in order to open up this PDF. Now, I'm certainly not going to do that. Then, once you're done with choosing all of these options, it's time to click Export. But when I click the Export button, I want you to look up here in the application bar behind this dialog box. You'll see a little animation for a moment, and that animation is the PDF exporting, because PDFs actually export in the background. You don't see a dialog box saying page 1, page 2, and so on. They export in the background, and the only way to know that they're exporting is by watching that little animation. All right, here we go. Click Export. There it goes. It exported that PDF, and now I want to go open it in Acrobat. I'll switch to my desktop. There's the PDF. I'll double-click on it to open it in Acrobat, and we can see there's my PDF. Looks great. Making PDF files isn't difficult at all from InDesign. What is sometimes difficult is making the right decisions for the quality that you're trying to achieve.